From the Pep Radio Newsroom, this is the latest news blast for the Pep Radio channel on YouTube. Thank you to our subscribers for following the news stories we share. If you haven't subscribed yet, please click the button below. The Allentown Morning Call is reporting that Allentown is looking to update its anti-discrimination ordinance to mirror the most up-to-date and inclusive version of such a law in Pennsylvania amid accusations of discrimination in City Hall and targeting from the White House of some groups like transgender people and immigrants. Allentown City Council unanimously voted Wednesday evening to advance a bill that would replace its anti-discrimination ordinance, which dates to 1963, with a new one that covers more specific types of discrimination and situations where discrimination could occur, like in a healthcare setting, for example. It is nearly identical to a law in Lehigh County that passed last year, according to Liz Bradbury, one of the ordinance's primary authors, co-founder of Allentown's Bradbury Sullivan LGBT Center and director of Keystone Equality, a statewide LGBT rights organization. Lehigh County passed the law February 2024, and Bradbury now chairs its Human Relations Commission, which is tasked with investigating reported violations. It took 3.5 years to write this ordinance, and it passed into law in Lehigh County last year. It is the most up-to-date and inclusive non-discrimination law in the state, Bradbury said. Updating the ordinance is not the first move Allentown has taken to protect marginalized groups. The city recently declared itself a safe haven for transgender people seeking gender-affirming health care, citing some of the White House's efforts to limit access to that care and executive orders that no longer recognize transgender identities as legitimate. Council member Natalie Santos, who introduced the resolution, said last month that it would defend the dignity and well-being of every individual, no matter the political climate, and cited research that gender-affirming care prevents suicide and mental illness in both LGBT youth and adults. Advocates cite some federal officials' rhetoric about immigrants, like Trump's claims that immigrants entering the country illegally are invading the United States, as a concern, saying that it could perpetuate biases against anyone who appears to come from an immigrant background. Allentown, Bethlehem, and Easton all have anti-discrimination ordinances, though their language and the types of discrimination they cover vary. Allentown's new law, like Lehigh County's, would go further than federal or state protections by including discrimination based on height and weight, source of income, and gender identity and expression. It would also apply to all businesses in the city, whereas other laws only apply to businesses that employ 4 or more people, excluding family members. It would also extend discrimination protections to cover healthcare and education settings, which the current city law does not. Several federal laws outlaw discrimination. For example, the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits discrimination based on race, religion, sex, and national origin in employment and other areas. But federal laws only cover some forms of discrimination, and as the Trump White House seeks to roll back some protections of certain groups, local anti-discrimination laws and groups can take on a new significance, advocates said. This is what a community who wants to protect the minority folks in their community who are being attacked. This is what the community can do, Bradbury said. They can pass a law that says this is a law. This isn't DEI. This isn't some kind of training or something. This is a law. And it just says you can't discriminate against someone. Also, reporting discrimination to a federal or state agency like the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission or the Pennsylvania Human Relations Commission often means waiting months or years to see a complaint resolved. A local commission, with its lighter workload, often can resolve complaints much more quickly, according to Bradbury. When a complaint came to the county, we looked at the jurisdictionality within an hour of it coming in and immediately begin work on it, Bradbury said. According to Bradbury, the Lehigh County Commission is in the middle of investigating its first discrimination case since its inception in September. The complaints are kept confidential. That's the news blast for this hour. If you have not already done so, please visit the Pennsylvania Equality Project website, paequality.com, to complete the 2025 housing survey. If you are 18 or older, live in Pennsylvania, and are part of the LGBTQ+ community, you are eligible to participate in the survey. Thanks for watching. We'll be posting additional news blasts throughout the weekend.